You're a fraud.
You're a liberal hack.
All right. Well,
I'm coming in a bit heated just because of this whole just for background, so there's a bit of context as to what I won't get that out of hand, but like I was struggling for 1 hour to join this meeting to do the pod, and I tried everything, turning it off and on again, and what worked is when I took the power out of the fucking computer, and now it's like, oh no, we're good, we're sweet. It's like everything's fast again. How is
I don't understand. And look, if you think that was bad, I was waiting for an hour, so
yeah,
we're both suffering, really.
Yeah, both equally suffering there. But like that's power. That's like the battery. They love that.
You'd think that the power would, make it better.
It's like oxygen for us. Like imagine that. Imagine you got cancer, and then the doctor said, "Have we tried just not giving them oxygen?" And maybe.
I mean, it kind of works. Don't you feel better when you have a cigarette? Like take the oxygen away, power up.
That's it. Yeah, it loves going raw. So I'm on raw. So if I cut out like half an hour into this, that's why.
Well, look, that's a taste of modernity, which is another thing that we're going to be getting a taste of today. Because today we'll be reviewing. Look, I don't think it's a big audience hit, but I think critics are going to really get behind it. Bit of an art house film. It's the 34th movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but don't let that put you off. Generally, I find cinematic universes get good around the 34th movie, so this kind of tracks with previous franchises.
You have to give it that amount of time, so it sets the scene in context.
Yeah, otherwise, luckily, I knew what was going on in this movie. There was enough information. If you're going in blind, I think no problem because they've just set the tone now.
Yeah, but it's like The Simpsons. Like, I think you have to just persevere through the first 25 seasons to get to the really good stuff.
Yeah, people have been saying that.
That's when they've really got stuff to tell after 26 seasons. There's so much story left to tell.
And look, here's the 34 more. We're talking obviously about I can't even say the time.
We could go.
We skip every other movie, like the good movies that we might enjoy, but we're here for Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
I'm about to lose everything that I've ever cared about.
Not my fucking problem.
Is that what you said when your world went to shit?
Come again.
This Wolverine let down his entire world.
Want to talk about what's haunting you, or should we wait for a third act flashback?
Go fuck yourself.
Deadpool 3.
Paid money for it.
MCU 34. I know. I tried to do the HD cam rip, thinking, look, I don't respect this movie. I don't respect the franchise. I could probably watch a HD cam rip, but alas, despite reviewing this movie now, my taste for cinema is too high. My respect for cinema is too high, and I couldn't bring myself to watch the HD cam rip. So on a Monday night, 6:30 at night by myself, drove half an hour to go see Deadpool Wolverine in a packed cinema, which I fucking hate. I mean, I know the death of cinema is something that we are concerned about, obviously. And I have seen many movies by myself in the past year, and they have all been completely empty. It's like hiring out a cinema for yourself. This time, I couldn't play on my phone. I couldn't vape. It was bullshit. And
I think the whole audience was probably saying the same thing. It's just, fuck, I just want to vape.
It was an audience of teenagers, so probably.
I'm interested to, because I mean, when I went to see it, I saw it with a Gen Z person just to help me out with like where I was going wrong. Like, am I meant to, like when I didn't get a joke or something, I was looking at them and saying, "Is that?"
I don't know if that's going to hold up in a court of law. Why are they with you?
They're related to me. It's fine.
Worse.
It's worse.
Who did you see it with? I want a name.
Oh, Albert, my cousin, my brother Charlie. Look, he only liked it marginally better than I did, so it's not like he loved it, but he loved the weird parts, the sincere parts of it, which was strange to me because it's It's from the very first. So I've seen all of Deadpool's.
I think that
So
just quickly, I think that makes sense. Like a Zoomer attaching themselves to the sincerity of it. It's like somebody who's never known the touch of a human. Like
no any better.
Just somebody brushing them by on the subway kind of thing.
We can grill him on the pod because I told him you can come on. We'll talk about Coen Brothers. So that'll be a pod to do.
Okay. All right. Well, for this one though, I think we both expected, Deadpool 1, I think was kind of fun. I enjoyed it at the time. Deadpool 2, I felt the magic of it had somewhat dissipated. And going into this one, I thought maybe it's going to be all right because it had some good word of mouth and it felt like maybe they were trying to do a bit of a refresh, and maybe it might have been.
People really just hated it, like as the worst thing. So you kind of go and thinking, all right, surely it's not that bad.
Well, I was thinking surely it's not that good, but I was kind of still expecting to hate it, and I think you were maybe the same, maybe even more.
Yeah. I mean, I certainly didn't go in with any high hopes, and I probably wasn't going to give it a fair. Look, I mean, it really had to knock me out to, knock me for 6 to really get a good score out of me. But that's the setup. That's the Marvel setup. This is the first Marvel film I've seen since Endgame. So
that's actually crazy. That's very good of you. I've seen shit. I've seen Black Widow. I've seen Doctor Strange. I've seen Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Didn't catch Eternals or the Marvels.
That would have been.
But I don't think anyone
ones.
Did, so.
Maybe, but some people didn't really like it. Look, to me, it is fast food. So the same time I haven't had fast food, and then like 2 weeks ago, like 2 months ago, I had KFC. So this is kind of like a relapse of watching shit. So look, I think it's probably going to be easy to talk about what I liked about it rather than what I didn't. Because what I didn't like about this one is really the same thing that I didn't like about the first one, which is it kind of wants its cake. It wants to have its cake and eat it too, in that it wants to make fun of its genre, the superhero style, but it is a superhero movie. Like it's he still has to defeat a villain at the end and win the girl. It's the exact same plot, just rehashed again. But still trying to make fun. It throws in jokes about the multiverse not working, but it is a multiverse movie too. So it's not really. It's very preachy about that, but it does the same thing. Like it's not. There's no point of differentiation between this and other Marvel films. Only that they swear and say fuck a lot more. That's really it. So that really is the only difference.
I think I give it a bit of credit in that it is just to have fun to a large degree. I mean, it's 5% serious Marvel movie. They got the anchor being and the timelines and stuff, and it is, establishing itself as part of the MCU. But it feels more like a playground, and not saying that necessarily that's going to result in something good. But I think I allow it to kind of be what it is, which is. Insincere and sincere at the same time in regards to its place within the cinematic universe, which it's like Oppenheimer says, it's paradoxical, but it works.
Yeah, it works in that respect, but like I can't reconcile that. In my watching it, I can't reconcile it. I'm just saying you're making fun, but you're doing the same thing unironically. Like I can't really ever care for his character because he's not a real character. It's a spoof. So when he's trying to like really say, Vanessa or whatever the love interest, like his friends are the best people in this room. It's like, I don't care about you. Like, I'm sorry. You've set this whole franchise up for me not to care about you at all. So I can't really ever feel bad that you're going to make spoilers now.
Well, no, not spoilers yet. We're fucking 2 seconds into it.
Okay, all right, no
the
spoilers.
Best part of the movie. We'll say when the spoilers are coming in. We'll give you fair warning. Listen to the review.
The next thing I got to say is spoilers too. It's a huge spoiler.
Well,
I want to say it though.
I'll talk a bit more about what I thought of the movie as well. You don't even know what I thought of the movie. because
Well, what do you think?
I liked Deadpool and Wolverine, the movie, which is maybe not as surprising as I would like it to be. But the sincerity for me was enough. Like, yes, I have no idea who his friends are. I think they're from the previous Deadpool movies, but it doesn't matter who they are because Ryan Reynolds or Deadpool establishes well enough to me in his characterization of Deadpool that Deadpool cares about them. So I don't need to care about them, but knowing that Deadpool cares about them, that's enough for me to buy the relationship with, his friends and his girlfriend. I don't know who the big metal man is. I don't know who the Asian girl is. I kind of remember his roommate. But for me, the sincerity was there enough. And I think the sincerity throughout the movie, they did kind of a smart thing with a lot of it is, and I know it's kind of dumb because he is now the biggest part of the MCU, but the movie does enough to portray him as a kind of like a loser. And it's much easier to enjoy a superhero movie when it's about a loser instead of like Tony Stark, the coolest man in the world, Chris Evans, Captain America, the most noble man in the world.
Yeah, again,
those
that's
kind of characters.
One of those paradoxes, though, that I can't reconcile that too. Because on the one hand, he sort of puts himself as this sort of loser and sidekick character, which was true in the first film, but it's not morphed. It's probably going to be the highest budgeting Marvel film for the next 3 years, I'd say. So you're right. He's actually by default Marvel's guy at the moment.
But the thing is, he can't ever be Marvel's guy. They can't make the whole MCU this kind of meta joke. Like, he wouldn't work in an Avengers movie because that has to be more sincere, and it can't be like a fake out. I think just within the rules of this movie, I don't mind that it is like a spoof fake out kind of thing, because that is just the rules of the universe. And within that, it's still able to kind of imbue it with a bit of heart and sincerity that makes it work in a way that doesn't feel as forced as the sincerity of like Ant-Man trying to defeat Kang. I didn't find that believable. It's a much smaller, like, in a lot of ways, this movie, even though
is that new or is that older ones, Ant-Man?
The third one with Kang.
Okay.
The newer one. You probably missed that one too. But
I've missed all
Ant-Man was originally kind of worked, and I guess maybe this is a similar thing where it's, even though it is a $200 million movie, it feels kind of cheap. Like, there's just like a couple of different sets, and like the climax takes place on like a street that's obviously like a backlot, and it's kind of quaint in that way. So I think all of those elements are kind of playing into this, and it sounds stupid because it is going to be the biggest movie ever, but that kind of like underdog feeling of the movie that makes me not hate it that much, because it's hard to hate the underdog. They've done a smart thing at least, and maybe it didn't work so much for you, but
no, that's the thing. Yeah. If it's true, yes, but it's not true. Nothing in this movie is true to me. It's all just a facade of shit. So I can't. I just can't go there with you. So it's, for me. I'll tell you about what I like though. So now we'll have to do a big spoilers because
all right, we got 15 minutes in. I like it. Nick doesn't like it, but I think it's gonna sound bad, but I think you should watch the movie and then listen to the review, because some of the spoilers I found quite charming, and I would have been disappointed to have them spoiled.
Oh, true. Yeah.
If I had been spoiled. So, spoiler alert.
From now, stop listening, but then start again after. Don't stop and then never come back. Come back, because people will do that. People will stop listening and then they won't. Like, I'll probably do that. I'll probably listen to half a pod anyway. So I did love the Chris Evans reveal.
That's the worst one. That's the worst.
No. It was them bad, but I loved it as because he was the guy from Fantastic Four.
Yeah, he was Johnny Torch or whatever. I don't know his name.
But
Johnny.
It reminded me of when I laughed like an absolute child in Space Jam 2, the ship one, the Legacy. When Michael Jordan is revealed and it's Michael B. Jordan, and
Michael
it's
B. Jordan. Yeah, that was a funny
joke. But it's like, I was like, you know, when you really don't want to laugh at something, you say, "I fucking don't want to laugh at Deadpool," and then that happens, like, oh, it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So I was laughing, and then they didn't have him for very long, which is very annoying. But then
I thought
they
good to not have him too long.
yeah, but I
I
wanted
just
him.
didn't like his delivery of the joke lines that he had. I just thought he was kind of weak in it and not selling the funny as well as other parts of the movie. And to begin with the movie, I was against it, and I was not really laughing for the first like 20 minutes. Like the opening Backstreet Boys dance number, I was just like, I don't enjoy this. The using Logan's skeletal rotting corpse as weaponry. Again, it just kind of felt like Ryan Reynolds doing his, kind of shock humor Deadpool stuff, but not funny to me. And that was, but then it kind of kicked off maybe half an hour into it, and then from then on, I was laughing. But Chris Evans was where we're at.
You didn't like, or you just stopped?
No, yeah, Chris Evans was still at that point where and yeah, so I mean, I guess this ties into the cameos, so we'll talk about the cameos. The first one was Henry Cavill as Wolverine, and that felt like the Fantastic Four, not Chris Evans, but John Krasinski in the Doctor Strange movie. I don't know if you saw this, but fans were calling for John Krasinski to be Mr. Fantastic for years, and then they kind of do look, here he is, here's Mr. Fantastic, and everybody's supposed to be happy about that. Here's John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, but without any no characterization, no arc, obviously, nothing for him to do but to show up and you clap, you clap.
But I get that. But I think the other level it works on is the fact that he is Superman in the opposing.
They make a little joke about that, which is kind of funny. Yeah.
So that's sort of, it gives it a little bit of something, and it's sort of like, oh, you're appearing in the wrong movie. So again, it's not our tempo, it's not our humor. Like, it's for the Gen Zs to sort of like huff at.
Yeah, I suppose.
But it's not. Yeah,
I think I also don't like Henry Cavill, so it's
well,
especially after
reviewing. So.
Yeah, Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, completely fucking devoid of charisma. So I think I'm off. I've always kind of been off Cavill, but he just kind of reminds. He's like one of those incel nerds who got buff and hot, and so now he's he just rubs me the wrong way. And so him showing up.
He liked Warhammer. I don't know if that means he's an incel. I mean, that's he's just
defined.
but Ryan, I like Warhammer. And I'm not a buff and hot nerd.
No, just look into him. He says weird stuff in interviews. He just has a vibe. Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
He never likes getting comments on his look. I always thought that was a bit precious. Like, he's like, come on, man. You obviously, just eat up.
Yeah, that's right. Enjoy it. Have fun with it. And then I did enjoy the alternate universe Wolverines. This is not really movie analysis at this point, but
We're talking about the film. And then the other thing that I liked was the reveal of the forgotten superheroes, the forgotten
Avengers, the reject.
That was
so good. Mike just buzzed in. I loved as soon, I don't know why, but as soon as I saw her blades come through the door, I'm like, that's fucking Elektra.
Yeah.
And it was Elektra.
I mean, that was for us actually, because that was more our growing up watching the old Spider-Mans and Elektra and Daredevil and everything like that.
And they had a good joke
Blade,
with talking about how Daredevil died, and Jennifer Garner goes, eh.
Yeah, so it's really good.
And then Blade is great, and then Channing Tatum is actually, I always love Channing Tatum, always a delight to see him in a movie, and they really gave all of the reject heroes something to do. They gave him a character arc-ish. They gave them some nice little moments where they got to save the day. They gave them a purpose to exist. They gave them some redemption. And that is so much more effective than the John Krasinski Fantastic Four cameo. It's like they're not just cameos. They're characters in the film that have something to do. And I really enjoyed those guys coming into the film.
Yeah, so we probably agree that that was both of our peaks for the film. Now, it didn't save the film at all for me, but it just that was enjoyable seeing.
But then
that
other shit like
their inclusion.
Charles Xavier's twin, I'm like, I have no idea.
That's just classic
This-
Marvel adding stuff in, and that to me is a Marvel plot point. There's also what's his name?
Or Pyro and
Oh no, yeah, and then okay, so this is the thing I want to talk about. What are our thoughts on Ryan Reynolds? Maybe as a person, because to me, Deadpool's his sort of like, this is who I am.
this is his
like-
artistic statement.
right. So to me, I think he's just so, I want to say devoid. It's very rude. It's very like clean cut to say devoid of artistic talent, but he's obviously funny. But I just think he's so overly insecure in who he is or what he's doing that he overbrews stuff like this. So the fact that Deadpool has had the last word in every single little, repertoire, like every little rat-a-tat that they basically throw at each other. He puts himself again in the movie as European Ryan Reynolds. He's just like little stuff, having an ugly dog come up. Like just there's things about like in the film that are just like, of course, yeah, but it's like, but why is it in there? It's just like it doesn't add anything to his character. Is he putting it in there to make? Oh yeah, he loves wounded and shitty looking dogs. That means
I think it's
he is one.
Well, yeah. I think it's a
It's
character.
just on the nose. It's just like it's so
But then
fucking obvious.
I agree. And okay, for example, like when the dog is like kissing his lip as he's talking, give big licks, and then it's like, that's not that funny. But then they keep the licking going for like maybe 2 full minutes as he's talking, and it gets funnier as it goes along. I agree he's insecure and everything, but I feel like, and yeah, look, Ryan Reynolds is annoying. I'm not gonna sit here and defend Ryan Reynolds, the indefensible. I think he hasn't been in a good movie apart from the Deadpool movies. In
Van Wilder. That's it.
I've
Yeah,
not seen Van Wilder.
But I mean, that's like the American Pie. That's when he was just like,
Oh, right. Yeah, when he was
he can
first
get
coming out,
away
he
with
also
that sort of raunchy humor. But he's like, he's like, okay, I can't be American Pie humor anymore because that's not
no
on
longer in
anymore.
vogue.
So he's that, but just watered down. So ugh.
He was in Buried, which I thought was a really good movie. I watched Buried again recently,
Yeah.
and it super holds up, and he delivers a really good performance. I mean,
I agree with that.
yeah, it's 90 minutes in a...
It's a hard one, and that's probably his best ever performance. But I can't really think of many other. He shoots
I
on
don't
Green
think he's had
Lantern all the time, and
which is a bit... I don't like that so much.
Yeah, but like so all of his films are Green Lanterns, like except for Deadpool. They're all fucking like he's in Red Target or some shit with Dwayne. Like
Yeah,
they're
never
all
watched
shit.
that
All
too.
your films are bad, dude.
I-
Free Guy.
Look, I'm maybe the only guy who kind of enjoyed Free Guy, but... and it's Sean Levy as well. It's the same guy, so maybe I'm just kind of a sucker.
Maybe he gets you.
The thing is, I don't think these are great movies, but I think they do a good job, Free Guy and Deadpool, of doing what it says on the box kind of thing. Like, you look at the posters, you look at the trailers for these movies, and you know what you're going to get. There's nothing special, but I think Sean Levy, while he may not have a heart himself, he knows how to kind of pull the right heartstrings, if you will, to... And that's kind of what it is a lot of the time. It's craftsmanship. It's not necessarily, it's not art. It's not coming from the soul, but it doesn't always have to be that. It can be craftsmanship. It can be filmmaking in a more maybe cynical way, but I don't see it as that because they're delivering something to the audience that the audience can appreciate if you go in uncynically. And I think going in uncynically into Free Guy and Deadpool 3, I don't mind that he's tugging on my heartstrings because I found it to be effective. And then also they can be funny as well because obviously Free Guy is Taika Waititi riffing on a level that's freaking sublime. And Deadpool has Ryan Reynolds riffing, which is whatever. But also I think one thing which we haven't actually touched on at all, which is interesting for this movie, is Wolverine and Hugh Jackman. consummate professional.
Yeah, I did like. So that's the thing. He didn't really have to do anything special, but he
held the movie fucking together. That's special.
He held the movie together. I agree with that. And you said before that, look, it's not art, and it's not. There's certainly going to be a fair number of people, and I'm not going to criticize their taste or anything like that, that actually really enjoy this film and find it like a 9 out of 10 film. Like, unironically, I think there is that audience, or that's
MCU guys, I think. Like,
that's there is certainly. I think it's probably as good, or if like not as good, but like certainly nearer to Deadpool the first one than the second one. Some people might even like it more than Deadpool 1.
I think so.
I wouldn't begrudge them that. It's just definitely not for me. And like going into this, I've checked out of Marvel cinema. Like it's an upward. It's an uphill battle. I'm never gonna love this film ever. Like it's just.
And I think what worked for me in this is that like I am checked out of the MCU. I kind of watch the occasional one that comes out of like a morbid curiosity and like, you know, just doing our job as film critic historians. I like to stay abreast of the culture, so I am checking them out every now and then. But I'm emotionally checked out. Not that I was ever really emotionally checked in. I hated Infinity War, and that was at the peak. I mean, I really enjoyed Endgame, but that's the thing. These movies can be so different just depending on, I don't know, what is happening at the time, the script. I think a lot of these movies rely on improv. The first Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. and Jon Favreau were writing the scene, 20 minutes before they were going to shoot it. So, and I think they are kind of run and gun, even though they have these massive budgets, because they do have these massive budgets, they're constantly changing things and rewriting them. They spend a lot of money on the special effects rather than the writing. So when you do have star power like Hugh Jackman or Robert Downey Jr., and the actor goes, look, this is shit, we need to rewrite this, they can do that. So the movies, it depends. I've kind of lost my train of thought here. What did you just say?
No. I agree with you. I see what you're saying. But that was to me early on, where there was a little bit more.
Oh yeah, checked in, checked out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I am checked out of the MCU, and I think that gave me a bit of a boost going into this because I'm not.
Yeah, no, what you were talking about was what they call it phases, the phase 1, phase 2.
Yeah.
And there really was, I suppose, an overarching plot to the first 2 phases, I suppose.
Which I never cared about.
Yeah, I did though. So like I was sort of watching it. I certainly didn't love every single film, but I found there to be an end game, like to finish at, or for me to finish at, which I was emotionally invested in. I think the next phase, and like without having watched it, just you kind of can see it. It's more about just a production line of getting shit out rather than there being like a coherent storyline. As soon as you go multi-universes, it's like it kind of just waters everything down because it doesn't matter. There's one universe, everything matters in this one universe. If you got 100 universes, I could lose 99 and I've still got one left.
Well, they did also in this one, they did kind of the smart thing by referring as the sacred timeline. The one that we've been watching, that's the sacred timeline. And I guess all the other ones don't really matter. They just exist so you can resurrect Robert Downey Jr. basically. That's kind of but just on the phases, the phases, I preferred it when it was like, here's one movie, and if you can be bothered to stay till the credits, then you can kind of have a sneak peek at what the next movie is going to be. Yeah. And that was kind of it. I mean, I liked Iron Man because Iron Man was a cool movie at the time. It was fresh. Robert Downey Jr. was great. The characterization of Tony Stark by Robert Downey Jr. and Jon Favreau. I think obviously Jon Favreau Joss Whedon is talked about as kind of like the figurehead or the godfather of the MCU, but really it's Jon Favreau. So I like that movie. Captain America came out. I know you're a Captain America guy. I wasn't really fussed by it. Thor, I wasn't, but then Thor 3, when it became funny, I was. It's just kind of like the individual movies. That's all I'm watching it for, is am I entertained, having a good time for the 2 hours that I'm watching it. And you can be entertained by like the wider overarching
I think they were for most people the most interesting We should probably just do like a deep dive on Marvel cinema. But like,
no, this is enough.
like Civil War is probably its peak, and I think a lot of people would agree. And that was with all of them. So anyway, look, I think there's also just this overhead of just Marvel and fucking Disney nonsense. It really kind of makes it hard for, let's say, us watching the film to really like consume and just mindlessly. Like it's hard to.
They don't let you mindlessly.
Yeah, exactly. Like
and again, this one kind of does. They go like, there was one scene where they reference a character, and then Deadpool goes, Loki season 2, episode 5. I'm like, okay, thanks. All right, thanks for the reference. I had no idea who you were talking about, so that helps me. So look, I mean, yeah, the movie worked for me. I think because like none of the little bits annoyed me that have annoyed you more, and fairly so. I walked in very low expectations and open, and because I just do not give a shit about Marvel, and the movie kind of like, he has respect for Deadpool, he has respect for the MCU in the sense of they're paying for the movie, but he doesn't have a really deep respect for it. It's only like the contractual respect. Like, you got to do 5% actual MCU shit, and the rest just kind of have fun with it. And Hugh Jackman, I think we just need to talk about how great he was in it, because, I mean, it's depressing though. It is depressing that
There's that great actor. There's that added thing is it's like he doesn't want to keep playing this role. Like,
I think he kind of does in this scenario.
He's got his own choice. Like, he could literally not if he wanted to. They could just get Henry Cavill.
Well, I think he was happy to play it when it's this good. I mean, I watched X-Men 1 today just because I, was thinking about it all and had just watched Deadpool and Wolverine. And X-Men 1 kind of just sucks. Like, it's not a...
You reckon?
Yeah, it's not a great movie. It's like a 6.
I think 1 and 2 are both good. I think 2's the better one. But
I watched it for the first time. I watched it for the first time since I was like 12, and it's pretty crap, to be honest. It's like campy.
No, in a good way though. Like, it's not serious, but it is serious. Like, as in they treat, like, I think it's the right level of camp. It's the same with Spider-Man, the Peter Parker, Tobey Maguire ones. It's that level of camp.
No, I mean like the camp in the sense of like
there's no like universe where they've got to be like really.
That stuff's fine, but like even the fight scenes and stuff kind of look like the Batman TV show from the 60s. It's like it doesn't have a level of it's not reached a maturity that even despite its failings, more recent superhero movies have. It's not exciting. It's kind of feels cheap in a lot of ways. Patrick Stewart is wasted mostly. Ian McKellen is wasted mostly. Patrick Stewart sleeps through the climax. He gets knocked out with half an hour left in the movie and then wakes up at the end like fucking Bilbo Baggins in the
Storm and the Toad.
The Toad is one of the worst fucking...
No, I know. He's a shit character, but when he gets killed at the end...
Yeah, that is a great fucking line. I'm not sure it was intended to be great in the way that I'm enjoying it. What happens when he gets struck by lightning? Halle Berry, fucking stone-faced. The same thing that happens to everything else. It's awesome. I love that. But I'm not sure how much I was supposed to enjoy it in that way. Yeah. So anyway, I think Hugh Jackman is enjoying... I mean, he's given the opportunity to really shine in this movie. It's like, you need to carry the heart of the movie, the sincerity. And he has a character arc, and they also did a really smart thing by not just... fucking resurrecting the Logan that we all know. They made him the shit Logan, which again ties into that underdog theme, which is throughout the whole movie. And I think because they keep building these layers of underdogs, the shit Logan, Deadpool is a loser. All these superheroes whose movies fucking sucked and nobody liked, we are given an opportunity to like them. And I think thematically, because it sticks to that, and builds on it throughout the whole movie, that by the end it works. And even though it does have a similar structure to a lot of these movies, the content of the structure is different. Rather than facing off a big alien monster or a blue beam that's shooting into the sky, they fight 100 Deadpools, and Matthew McFadden is the bad guy. And it's not like a big...
Yeah, but it still is that at the end. They're fighting, they're like making the ultimate hero sacrifice. Remember, we have the spoiler. and it's about like the villain that was introduced at the start looking to take over all the universe. It really is the same. Like,
Yeah,
it's
you don't
no
like
different.
any of the paradoxes in the movie, even Matthew McFadden. His
Okay,
name's
so well,
Paradox
Matthew
in the movie.
McFadden, like but the thing is, again, like Ryan Reynolds, they said, "Hey, I loved your character from Succession. Would you do the English accent, but also just water down your personality completely?" And then it's little things like that that really irk me. Just like,
Yeah, well, it is an
It's not-
MCU movie. It is.
yeah,
it's-
I know, but it's not inspired.
Like, you're right.
It's
Like,
not-
you're right. It's kind of like, it makes it critic proof in a way. It's like, it's shit. It's like, yeah, well, it's meant to be a little shit.
It's meant to be a little shit, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's a hard one to really get on board. Hey, let's go to the score. I'll probably start with mine. So I'm no lower than a 4. But I'm higher than a 4. It's not a 4. But I was like, this is going to be a 1. I'm going to hate it. I'm going to tweet about how much I hate it. It's like I can't hate it that much, but I certainly can't love it that much. 4 is where I'm at.
4
10.
feels real
2,
harsh.
2.5.
4
No,
is
wait.
more what I reserve for Avengers Infinity War.
Whoa.
Movies of that.
We're losing the nerds, Ryan.
We lost them. I was trying to explain all this to Megan, like my girlfriend, like why Logan's in the universe now and how the X-Men are part of it and stuff. She's like, and I was like, fuck. I've been making fun of these nerds for fucking years. And she's looking at me like,
What
doesn't
are
know
they
who I
sign
am.
up for?
So my rating is a big strong 7 out of 10. 7.
Oh, I was
for
thinking you were
Deadpool.
going to be a bit lower, 6. So 7, but 7's the kind of like you found it enjoyable, okay, but you're not going to really.
If we were giving
Absolutely defend it.
5s, I might even give it a little bump up to the 7.5. But we do whole
Nah,
numbers. Yeah,
You got to pick a side, pick a 7 or an 8.
yeah. So because I was annoyed by like the
Strong 7, okay.
first quarter of the movie dragged it down, and then maybe the ending kind of was a bit same old. So can't give it the 8. That would be going a bit far, but 7 enjoyable movie. Like, and that's the perfect, like, I could watch it again. I'm gonna watch it again someday. So
No, I will never.
and I mean, yeah,
I'm happy never to ever see it again. And I think that's live or die, really. Like, if 7's fair enough, watch it again. And anything less than a 5, you shouldn't be watching that again. Otherwise, you got to revisit your rating. Like,
it's a great, like, I don't know what to watch, just something easy and fun. Deadpool and Wolverine.
yeah, it'll frustrate you. So we got 2 sides here. You're
And we
well, I
didn't
mean,
really
like,
argue
go
too hard
watch
about it. It was kind of like a respectful. Yeah. I mean, 4 I thought
to
was
be honest,
low.
I thought you were going to be around me, like 5. I didn't
Nah.
know you're going to like it that much.
I was enjoying it. I laughed a lot. I think that's when it comes, because it basically is a straight comedy almost. And if you laugh a lot, I find, we're watching comedies these days, and I fucking get nothing from me. So if I laugh a lot, I mean, that's a success. That's what you want. So can't really be too harsh on it.
But yeah, okay, so I won't dwell on it, but it's, to me, the laughs are similar in the way that a jump scare can scare you. The jump laughs, because they're going to elicit a laugh, but they're not necessarily the funniest thing you've ever seen, but it's going to elicit a laugh.
I think
That's
it's
how
easier to scare than to laugh. It's a good analogy, but I don't necessarily agree, because you can trick people.
When have we ever agreed?
But I can just go and then you jump. But a laugh, I feel like a laugh has to be all right. Okay, but a laugh has to be earned.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, usually yes, but there can be. So I know. Yeah. Look, that's the thing. I'm not gonna persuade you, but I just think the laughs are cheap, but they are laughs, but they're still cheap.
I'll take them for free. Not a phrase.
That's good. I keep it in. All right. Should we? We could probably cut it and then
Wrap it up.
next.
Deadpool and Wolverine. I liked it. Nick didn't like it. Let us know what you think on x.com. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for joining us. We'll catch you next time
Mm-hmm.
for the next.
Reach
movie.
out, like always, if you want to get on the pod.
Yeah,
We
you want to
always
report
have-
anything?
Well, if you just want anything, just advice, stuff.
Yeah,
Kids.
I got kids. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I mean, different Xbox games, whatever you want. All right. See you later.
All right. Good to see you.
Stop.
Bye.